everybody. Welcome back to Memaw's house. You see, I got my people with me because you know what? We are having a Mother's Day shindig at our house tomorrow. And I am making a Chantilly cake for all of my sisters and my nieces and my grandnieces, and all of the girls will be together tomorrow at my house, just celebrating womanhood and being mothers. So join us as we make this Chantilly cake. It is a beautiful cake and it's fitting just for Mother's Day. So my people gonna help me, and y'all hang out until we get back with the ingredients. There are many ingredients for this cake, so I'm not going to list them all here, but I will put the entire recipe in the description box below. There are many steps to this cake, so hang with us while we bake. And if you enjoy videos like these, please give it a thumbs up. So Ari's going to turn our oven to 325 to preheat. As per usual, I will start this cake by creaming our butter and sugar together. The only difference with this particular cake is that I'm making an almond cake, and the recipe that I use requires oil as well. So I'm going to get ready to cream my 2 sticks of butter, my 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, and 2 1/4 cups of sugar. So Ariana is going to get our dry ingredients together. She'll start with 2 1/2 cups of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and she'll sift that all together. The butter and sugar are thoroughly creamed together, but now let's get our wet ingredients together. We'll start with 2/3 cup sour cream. We will add 2/3 cup of whole milk. Now I'll gently whisk this together just until the sour cream is combined with the milk. Then I will add all of my flavorings, which is 2 teaspoons of vanilla and almond extracts and 1 teaspoon of butter extract. Now this recipe calls for 6 egg whites. So we're using our handy dandy egg separator, and Peyton is getting our egg whites all separated out. Now we'll add the egg whites 2 at a time and cream it into the butter and sugar mixture. And you know, since Peyton did it, Aubrey had to do it because they both love cracking eggs. Now that all the egg whites have been thoroughly mixed in, we're going to begin by adding our dry ingredients a little bit at a time. And we'll alternate with the wet ingredients, ending with the dry ingredients. You know how we do. Even though I have my new paddle with the handy dandy scraper things on the side, I still have to scrape down my bowl to make sure that all of my ingredients are getting fully incorporated. So this is my last batch of wet ingredients and dry ingredients, and I'm stirring in my flour a little bit because my handy dandy paddle with the scrapers on the side kept throwing flour out of the bowl. Now that all the flour and the wet ingredients have been incorporated and fully mixed, I can go ahead and scrape my paddle off and get ready to load up my pans. So we've prepared 3 baking pans with spraying it with Baker's Joy, and we will now divide our cake batter into thirds and get them ready to go into the oven. My prep area is looking a mess, so you know that's going to have to get cleaned up. Now the cakes are done, let's get them out so they can cool. And while we're getting them out, we can get ready to start our frosting. So to make the Chantilly cream, we'll start with 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese and 1 8-ounce container of mascarpone cheese. Now we'll get these blended well together, and then we'll add our confectioner's sugar. Now to this mixture, we'll add a teaspoon of cake batter extract, a teaspoon of vanilla, and we'll add 4 cups of whipping cream. Now we will beat this after we've added more powdered sugar. We'll beat this until the whipping cream starts to add volume. You see how thick that is? That's how thick it's supposed to be. Now, while the Chantilly cream is cooling in the refrigerator, we're going to turn our cakes out so that they can cool out here on the stove. Then we'll have our strawberries and our berries pulled together. Now, the way I like to make my Chantilly cake is to add a jelly layer with the fresh fruit. So I will make some berry jelly, a mixed berry jelly. And it's not a jelly like you put on bread, but it is a thickened gelled fruit compote, if you will. I don't know how best to describe it, but you'll see it when it's done. I add sugar, it thickens, and then we go ahead and add it to each layer of the cake with the fresh berries. So let's cook our jelly. I put a little water and sugar, a cup of sugar for the 2 cups of berries. Then I'll add a cornstarch slurry to the mixture, which consists of a half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I will add the slurry a little at a time to the desired thickness that I would like my jelly to be. And that fruit jelly or sauce will thicken as it cools. Now it is the next day and we're going to assemble our cake. So I'll start with getting some of the Chantilly cream down in a piping bag. Now I'm going to put a dollop of Chantilly cream on my doily that is going to go on the cake plate, just to hold the cake layer in place. So then I pipe a ridge around the edge of the cake with the Chantilly cream so that it will contain the jelly that I'm about to put on. Then I'll put a layer of fresh fruits. Now I'll add a final layer of Chantilly cream and put another cake layer on and continue layering that way. Here's an overhead view of what the cake looks like before I put this final layer on. Now that all 3 layers have been placed, and I had a little bit of leakage on one side of the jam, the syrup, and so I'm going to wipe that up just a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the frosting on the top of the cake and start to frost down the sides. I'm trying to do this rather quickly because all of the elements really should be refrigerated, and this is a cake that you will have to store in the refrigerator because your Chantilly cream will be a Chantilly mess if you leave it out on the table too long. So make sure that you get it in the refrigerator and keep it nice and cool. So I'm using a star tip and I'm simply running lines of frosting down the side of the cake. Now I will have to refill this piping bag quite a few times, so I'm going to spare you that and get right to the end result of the cake. Now that the cake is completely frosted, I'm going to use some fruit that I've washed and set aside to decorate the cake. I left some strawberries whole, and then I will fill in with the other berries. So here's the end result, a Chantilly cake that was well received by all of my family who celebrated for Mother's Day. Thank y'all for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. It certainly would help my channel. I appreciate y'all. Be blessed. Bye.